I just happened to get caught for doing something everybody does, you know, like driving drunk. Kendra, you also just admitted to driving drunk. And that's what happened to me. Yeah, Michigan mention. Let's talk about Unknown Number. I was hoping they would talk about it on the show because we were told by Hila that we all needed to watch it, right? So I watched it. I'm glad I did. It was crazy. I think that the documentary really left out a lot of information about Kendra that I think would have been illuminating and helpful and maybe explained things more, not excused it, of course. I thought they were way too easy on her. I think we needed way more into like what else was going on, and you get that in the article, so I've highlighted a bunch of shit. But first, this shit. Did you guys see this? From the body cam footage? I can't find an explanation for why there was this much alcohol on their dining room or kitchen table. It looks like maybe they were setting up for an event or something, potentially, but I don't know. I just thought it was really, really weird.
I mean, I really can't say what else.
8 by like 14. That's 90 bottles.
That looks like...
That's like wine. That's wine. Then it looks like we got like some liqueurs and some schnapps and stuff up here. Like, what is this for? Some of these could be empties they're saving to get the bottle deposit back. Maybe. A lot of them look full, though, don't they? They look like full and unopened. So that was the first thing that I was like, what the hell? We're just not going to talk about that at all? We're not going to talk about the fact that... I mean, they mentioned that Kendra was, like, SA'd at 17, but this shit did not start when she was 17. Like, that person has had shit going on way before that, and I think that they did not press on this woman enough, right? Like, the fact that she is so desperate for attention that she would sit in on this documentary knowing that she's the villain. I mean, you could have asked her anything and she would have answered it. She's like completely off the map. I know people who save bottles collect them after they drink them, but they all look full. Yeah, and wouldn't they be like in a bag or something? It ended abruptly. The article seemed to suggest people suspected it earlier. We are going to talk about that. Another interesting point, and I got a little bit of color commentary from my wife because this whole thing took place in Beale City, Michigan, and my wife went to college. I mean, she's from Michigan. She went to college near Beale City. She went to Central Michigan. So she is very familiar with this area, and Beale City is like right next door. And there's this point where Kendra's argument for why she, I don't even know what context in which she was saying this, but she was like, you know, I just happened to get caught for doing something everybody does, you know, like driving drunk. Kendra, you also just admitted to driving drunk. But she was like, you know, everybody drives drunk and then sometimes you get caught for it. And that's what happened to me. Yeah, Michigan mention. But Liz was like, everybody in Beale City drives drunk. She's like, it is like an alcoholic town because there's like nobody that lives there. You can't get anywhere. And like the only reason to go to Beale City is to drink at one of the pubs. And then so to get home, you're not taking an Uber. You're hammered and you're driving yourself home. And she called her sister and talked about it. And her sister was the same way. She's like, yeah, it's like a way of life in Beale City. Like everybody knows that Beale City is like alcoholic central and drunk driving central. It's so dangerous. And the fact that she like waved that off like stealing a lipstick from Walmart, right? Everybody does it. It's just like drunk driving. The two things you're comparing are both really fucking terrible. Sexually harassing your daughter and his girlfriend, your daughter and her boyfriend for years, and also driving drunk. Like, someone needs, I bet she's got a DUI in her past as well. And then she mentions a thing where she was talking about why she thinks this happened, and she said, that as she got older and as her daughter got older, like her trauma surfaced. When in my opinion, she was upset because her daughter was getting too old to control, right? Like her daughter was outgrowing her. And this is like classic Munchausen, right? Like trying to keep your child, like as a baby, incapacitated, helpless, needing you, right? So these parents get like activated when their children grow up. Like I remember a therapist telling me that parents who have some sort of a cluster B personality disorder, like borderline or histrionic, which I think she definitely has histrionic personality disorder. They will get upset and angry at their child when they outgrow certain diapers, when they start walking, because they're like physically walking away from their parent. So yeah, I don't think this was necessarily about Kendra's trauma as much as it was about her severely undertreated mental illness. Did anyone else think that when she got to the point that she was talking about controlling her outcome as in killing her? Yeah, because she's like, I didn't want that to happen to my daughter. Like the essay when she was 17, I was like, and you were telling her to kill herself. So controlling the outcome meant her dying before she turned 17. To me, it definitely feels like full-blown Munchausen syndrome. Munchausen by proxy. And she was also very clearly grooming the boyfriend. And there's more of that in the article. So there's that piece of it too, right? Where she is like emotionally stunted and attracted to her daughter's boyfriend and trying to push her daughter away from him, push everyone away from him. So maybe he'll notice her. Like so fucked up. Extremely Mary Kay Letourneau vibes. And I mean, this whole thing is just a look into how much pain one severely mentally ill person, like one malignantly mentally ill person, can inflict on like an entire system. Right? Think of all the people, all the kids she's traumatized, all the parents that she's traumatized, all the trust that she's broken, all the people that just feel violated by her. One person. Unbelievable. Child medical abuse. Ooh. But this isn't medical. Right? Adam McIntyre, we're talking about you, girl. Yeah. All right. So let's look at the article. So what I read through the article and I just highlighted pieces that might be of interest that basically give us more color into Kendra, because like I said, a lot was left out, and there's tons more in this article. If you want to read it, you should go and get it from the cut. But I will just show you some of the highlighted stuff that I found interesting as I was prepping for the show. So there's a lot of stuff like the lead up. Okay, so at a preliminary meeting with the sheriff's department many weeks prior, a detective had asked Jill if she feared that her son's mental state was bad enough that he might harm himself. She had watched Owen withering, talking back at home, looking miserable, pulling from a reserve of anger on the basketball court that she didn't recognize. But harm himself? Thankfully not. That much we saw, right? We saw this piece in the documentary. They left this out. And what about Ashley? Kendra didn't speak. They're calling Lauren Ashley in this article. They left her as a pseudonym. So anytime it says Ashley, they're talking about Lauren. What about Ashley? Kendra didn't speak. Jill recalls answering for her. So this is Owen's mom answering for Kendra. And she said, the answer is yes, Kendra. We are afraid Ashley could hurt herself. So everybody in the room, except for Lauren's mom, was concerned that Lauren was going to be pushed over the edge by these text messages, which were very obviously targeting Lauren more than Owen, right? Back in the principal's office, the sheriff said he'd start investigating, and the parents left the campus with renewed hope. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. This kind of colors Beale City, and I think just small towns in Michigan in general. There's a lot of people who end up dating their high school sweetheart or whatever, and it's also like it's kind of like an incestuous vibe to the town. Owen's parents, Dave and Jill McKinney, had also started dating in 7th grade, just like Lauren and Owen, right? And then everyone kind of looks like they're like, oh, you guys are going to be just like your parents. Like, you're supposed to, from what I know of Michigan, having married into a family from Michigan, with people that like live in a pretty small town, you're supposed to grow up and essentially do what your parents did. Like, that is the goal, right? You're supposed to follow in their footsteps, do what they want, do what the town wants, what the culture wants. Like, you're not really supposed to break the mold. And that it's kind of a prison for people, in my opinion, especially if you're different. Okay. But Owen's parents, Dave and Jill McKinney, had also started dating in 7th grade. Dave had been a star outfielder. Like, it's just so classic. At Beale City High, so he was really popular. This is Owen's dad. And Jill had been a Beale cheerleader. Again, just the classic story, right? This is like the dream. The McKennies were an established family in the area. While he coached kids baseball and worked as an IT manager at a farm lender, she was a super volunteer at the Catholic elementary school. So stay-at-home mom, right? Just like living the Midwest dream. Kendra, on the other hand, grew up about a 2-hour drive away in the exurbs of Detroit. While studying at Central Michigan University, fire up chips, she met Sean Licari, a Beale City High alum, and eventually moved into his simple one-story house. So she was an outsider. Kendra was an outsider, and she obviously already had so many problems, right? Already had so much shit going on. And then they go on to talk about locals concede that Beale City can be a tough place for transplants, that anyone who didn't go to the school or doesn't have one of the known last names, that's how small this town is. That there are last names that are known, and if you aren't one of them, you are not really welcomed in. You'll always be considered from not around here. And though Sean was from Beale, he hadn't been part of the in crowd, a friend of the family says. So I think it was probably important for Kendra to make sure that Ashley was. And clearly, Kendra already seems to have had the brain of a high schooler, right? Or even younger. Very arrested development from what we can tell. And so I think she was easily swept up into like the popularity contest of high school as her daughter got older, and then kind of just started trying to live vicariously through her daughter, which we will see coming up. While Ashley was on the quieter side, her friends knew Kendra, the mom, as the outgoing cool mom. I mean, red flag immediately, right? The cool moms are the ones who get arrested for having alcohol parties at their house, right? These are not people who really care about the children. What they care about is being the cool mom. At school events, she would approach a gaggle of students to gossip. Like, get out of here. Why didn't they say any of this in the documentary, right? I feel like they should have spent more time at the end, not just like letting Kendra air her shit out. They should have talked about this shit. And it gets worse. It gets a lot worse, right? So she's already trying to be like a high school girl. And then after Ashley started dating Owen, her mother came along too. as in like trying to date Owen as well. At every opportunity, Kendra would ask them to wrap their arms around each other for a photo, which Ashley would turn into presents for Owen, like a personalized phone case. When they hung out at the Licaris, Kendra would chime in. Why don't you jump on the trampoline? Take a spin in Ashley's Ranger utility vehicle. Kendra talked about the kids, Jill says, like they were going to be together forever. Once, Paige Ancliffe, who's a friend, saw Kendra take Ashley's phone and read her daughter's text with Owen. Then, as Ashley, pretending to be Lauren, Kendra typed out a reply to Owen, "I love you." Disgusting. Literally trying to date Owen. Hi, Tara. What movie did you see? Okay. Here, it gets worse. In 8th grade, Kendra signed up to coach Owen's track team. Lauren did not do track. Becoming, he says, like a second mom. A regular spectator at Owen's matches, she drove Ashley 3 hours across Michigan to watch one of his championship games. Literally just stuck in high school, this person. Thank you, Parker. They did not talk enough about this. Like, why didn't they talk about this? Once, Kendra even suggested turning Owen's tournament in Florida into a Licari family vacation, to which Jill had to gently say no. She was literally going to basically create an excuse to go to Owen's tournament by saying it was their family vacation too. Ashley is the pseudonym they're using for Lauren. So when you see Ashley, they're talking about Lauren in this article because she was a minor and a victim of a crime, and I don't think that they could get in contact with Kendra and the Licaris in general. They didn't get approval to use her name. Enmeshment for sure. They spent like 30 seconds on how Owen felt about it, then just never mentioned it again. Exactly. Yeah, I think the documentary definitely glossed over Owen as a victim. And that really stuck with me, like the violation of all of this. You know, to both of them, but to Owen especially. And I was saying to my wife, like, this is the kind of shit that if a lot of people, when they hear about it, right, of like, oh, my girlfriend's mom came on to me, you know, everyone's like, oh, that's like every boy's dream. He's not a victim, right? This is fucking like child abuse. Yeah, this felt rushed to me. I think there should have been a whole piece when you found out that it was Kendra, where all of this unravels and you see all of this gross stuff, right? Not just like, oh, I was raped when I was 17 and that's why I decided to sexually abuse and harass my daughter and her boyfriend. What are we doing? Oh, okay. For a year, the texter remained silent. So this is after the Halloween thing. That's what I don't understand. Like, why did she go silent? Was she like trying not to be weird? I don't understand why there were no text messages. And I don't know why they didn't push her more on being the first person to text things. I still don't understand why they involved her in the beginning half of the doc, acting like she didn't know who it was. Well, I mean, that's just good for the story, right? Like, I didn't mind that because then you are kind of, you're put into the position that the parents were in, right? Where they think that they have this ally fighting side by side with them. Just imagine if it was a dad doing this. Exactly. Fucking vile. So yeah, I wish we had gotten an answer for why there was no texting for a year. Like, what happened in this year? Was this when she was losing her job, or like what was going on that there were a couple weird texts around Halloween, and then did she just try to like stay away from it? And then got caught back up in it because something happened? Because it's so weird. Also, the whole thing there where she had like multiple phones, they glazed over that. They didn't ask her why she had multiple phones. She wanted to wear her daughter like a suit so she could be with Owen, 100,000%. Okay, so this is the stuff that she's saying her daughter. Let's just revisit it. It's obvious he wants me. His attention is constantly on me. Part of me thinks she really believed that, right? And I think she's not wearing necessarily her daughter's skin. Like this, it felt like she was trying to embody Chloe Wilson, right? That she was like her daughter's adversary and that she was sexier and that she was going to win him over. He wants nothing to do with you. He thinks you're annoying and an ugly ass bitch and wishes you would leave him the fuck alone. And then she sits there and says, no, I wasn't worried about Lauren because, you know, we talk about body positivity or whatever the fuck she was saying about like, no, the way that we talk about things, I knew that she would be okay. You are literally the one undermining all of that. Erotomanic delusion. Ooh, I like that term. I've never heard that. Okay. Now, this is another thing that they did not share. The fact that Kendra was weird with Lauren and Owen, but specifically like abusive via text to Lauren while this was happening. So in addition to the abusive text messages she was getting from other phones, she was also sending her daughter this. At a volleyball match in August of their freshman year, Owen and Ashley sat apart from each other because obviously this stuff started breaking them apart. That's when Ashley started getting texts from her mother across the gym. Sit next to him. Answer me. Come here now. I'm pissed. Move your ass. Now. I am fuming, pissed off. This is ficking ridiculous. Answer me and move your ass. Now, if I were Lauren, and maybe Lauren isn't a smart girl, right? She might just not be intuitive. And also, if it's your mom, you don't want to believe the worst, right? But if I'm getting messages like this from my mom, that feels like it's a similar vibe, right? I wonder if she ever suspected that it was her mom, right? I think kids know more than they let on. Oh, playing the mean girl in school. Yeah, exactly. She maybe she was bullied and now she wants to be the bully. It's fucking insane, guys. And then she would switch to this. You're the definition of a perfect couple and will be the forever couple that gets married. Like, when I'm telling you, this is still a dream that is alive in the Midwest. This is still something that people shoot for. To marry your high school sweetheart. If I married my high school sweetheart, I would eat a gun. Okay? First of all, my first high school sweetheart became a full-blown, radical evangelical Christian. It was a guy. Imagine me married to that. Nightmare, right? But in the Midwest, if your parents married their high school sweethearts, that's where all the weird groomy straight people stuff is happening of oh, our little boy and girl, they're going to grow up and get married. They're already flirting with each other and they're 2 years old. It's so gross. It's not a good idea. Okay. The weeks that followed the cyberbully betrayed an uncanny knowledge of mundane goings-on at school. When girls' basketball season geared up later that November, 3 freshmen moved up to varsity, but Ashley stayed, so this is Lauren, stayed on JV. And a senior overheard Kendra, her mother, saying to students in the hallway that the only reason those girls made varsity was because their parents were friends with the coach. So she's talking shit on the other people on the team who made varsity over her daughter. And then meanwhile, she's insulting her daughter, who already feels bad about not making the team. You suck at basketball. He ain't dating no suck-ass, anorexic, not good enough JV girl. It's so hard to understand what this person's brain is doing, right? Because I think if you have a semi-typical brain that's not like rotted with this kind of personality disorder, it doesn't make sense, right? But for some reason, being mean to her daughter, like kicking her daughter when she's down, is like cathartic to her. Vile stuff. Okay. In the spring of 2019, when Ashley was in 6th grade, okay, this is going back, Kendra got a job at Ferris State University, a 40-minute drive away. The role was on the IT service desk as a specialist in cell phones. Okay? And back then, this is when before all of this started, there was already weird shit happening with Kendra and Sean and the Licaris in general. And they didn't put any of this in the documentary. Among themselves, locals started to speculate something was off. Over the following years, oddities stacked up. At the auto shop, Sean would unquestioningly pass along tidbits from Kendra, say that the family had missed house payments because someone in New Mexico had stolen their identity, or that his pickup truck had been repossessed because of a scammer in Saginaw. After Kendra's check bounced for her portion of a spring break condo, she explained that she had gotten hacked. And my note here is, let me see if you can see it. Where was the money going? So I don't know. I mean, it's unclear if she ever actually worked at Ferris. I mean, even this article doesn't seem to confirm that at all. So was she just super in debt, or was she because she didn't have a job and had to make different payments, or did she have some sort of a gambling problem or something else? Like, we don't get any of these questions answered. Right? But there was already weird internet-y stuff happening. Hackers, scammers, all that shit. Identity theft, meanwhile. She's stealing the identity of a fucking teenage girl. She sought support from anyone who would listen. Again, this is just like the Munchausen stuff, the histrionic stuff of just like trauma dumping everywhere and taking in all of the sympathy. She sought support from anyone who would listen. Another mother running the scoreboard at the basketball games, parents who barely knew her. She would text the Antcliffe twins. These are middle schoolers, maybe freshmen in high school, asking them to leave class to comfort Ashley when she was crying in the bathroom. So she's just home texting with her daughter all day. Taylor, this is why cell phones in school are not a good idea. Because parents like Kendra want to keep 1000% 24/7 tabs on their kids, and they are texting them constantly and distracting them from school. This is a huge complaint that teachers today have. This is an extreme example of it, but this is what is happening in schools. It is allowing parents to get way wrapped up in the day-to-day high school shit. And if you spend enough time going back into a high school and re-immersing yourself in the toxic hormonal swamp that it is, shit like this happens. Like, you see teachers who side with the popular kids because they like start feeling this affinity because the culture worships them, right? And even the teachers get sucked into it. Adults are not safe. Adults are not safe from high school bullshit. They're also often not safe for children. Students would sometimes see Kendra parked in the school lot in the middle of the day. She told people she worked for Ferris State from home and often showed up wearing the university's gear, which she probably just bought at the sports shop. In the hallways one day, Kendra just at the school every day. Kendra told Owen's younger sister, Macy, that the bully had insulted Ashley's shirt, so she was bringing a change of clothes. So she was using this bully facade to find excuses to be closer to Owen, to get into the school, to get sympathy from the children at the school. Unfortunately, adults very often still act like high schoolers. Yeah, there's been studies of teachers who either look the other way or side with the bullies, like the popular bullies, against the nerdy kids and won't step in because they don't want to be seen as not cool. 8 teachers from your high school? Holy shit. Gross. Another time, Kendra saw Natalie Antcliffe in the parking lot and confided that it had taken hours for Ashley to get dressed that morning, that she was anxious about her performance at games because she expected it to become fodder for bullying. Natalie gave Kendra a hug, assuring her that the culprit would eventually be caught. This grown-ass woman trying to get sympathy from children. What a fucking pathetic worm she is. All right, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so then we get to Craig, who is Chloe's dad, and he is a cop. So he's got a little bit of like discernment to him. And he says Craig wasn't officially on the case as a cop, but he wanted the truth fast, right? Because Chloe was being framed. He and Tammy had a hunch, added up. That weird texting in middle school about how Ashley wasn't invited to their Halloween party, Kendra's resentment of Chloe moving to varsity, so she was one of the girls that moved up to varsity, and then a trivial incident at a basketball tournament years earlier, when Tammy and another mother had searched for a sticky mat. I don't know what a sticky mat is. When Kendra stayed mum, only revealing she had stowed it in the equipment room after parents threatened to look at surveillance tape. So what, was she going to like steal it? In early February, Craig texted the sheriff, "Honestly, Mike, I don't know if you know Kendra or not, but you really need to be cautious. There is a pretty good part of me that thinks she may very well be doing this." Instead, winter turned to spring. Like, they just didn't look into her at all. Unfucking real. Was this okay? We got a couple more. Gradually, Jill, that's Owen's mom, was starting to pick up on strange signals from Kendra. Months after the breakup, Kendra kept prying into Owen's love interests, asking if he was dating Chloe. Again, the fixation on Chloe. Annoyed, Jill firmly told her that they'd talk only about the bully going forward. In early May, long after basketball season was over, Dave spotted Kendra's gray Explorer parked near the Catholic church half a block from school. Inside, Kendra was looking down at her lap. She glanced up at Dave and waved. Later that day, unprompted, Kendra brought it up to Jill on the phone. "Oh, I'm sure Dave thought it was funny seeing me in the parking lot," she remembers Kendra saying. "I drove to Beale to get gas and got a coffee, and I spilled it all over me, so I pulled in there to wipe it off." Jill sniffed a lie, but why? Because she was being fucking sketchy. Sitting near the school, just texting and bullying these kids all day. Okay, and then this is all the financial shit. There was a lot about the family's finances that Kendra had hidden. Her job, and none of this was in the documentary. Her job change in 2019 when Ashley was in 6th grade was in fact the result of Central Michigan University firing her for her performance. The new job at Ferris State had not come. Oh, thank you, Blanca. The new job at Ferris State had not come with the big wage bump she'd claimed, and collectors were filing suit in court for unpaid utility and insurance bills. Later that fall, when Owen asked Ashley out and the first texts arrived, the Licari's one-story house was foreclosed on. Okay, so there's also tons of financial stress happening that might have like triggered her need to like spew venom at people. Kendra told her family that she had sold it. No, she got foreclosed on. The Licaris moved into the log cabin after entering into a land contract, a way to buy a house, often for those with bad credit, in which buyers pay installments directly to the owner. By the spring of 2021, Ashley's 8th grade year, so this is 2 years later, Ashley being Lauren, Kendra's managers at Fair Estate had put her, okay, so she did work at Fair Estate. At Fair Estate had put her on a performance improvement plan, citing excessive time on non-work texting and calls. I fucking knew it. When we were watching it, I was like, that's why she got fired from Ferris. Absolutely why she got fired. She told them she was overwhelmed and stressed out from COVID and sports, and also, juggling multiple burner phones. She spent all that money on sticky mats. The August of Ashley's freshman year, falling short on her performance plan, Kendra quit. So she was going to get fired. No one gets put on a performance improvement plan without the threat of being fired, like being right around the corner. That's essentially a company covering their ass and gathering evidence in general. Throughout that school year, as the text rained in at all hours because she's fucking unemployed, Kendra maintained she was working from home, feigning work calls when Sean was around. According to a family member, when he would ask Kendra about anything financial, she would change the subject to the cyberbully. Is anyone getting like snarker vibes from Kendra? Just feels very snarkery that when you are like at your lowest and you're having difficulty, you decide to use that energy to be disgusting and mean to other people. I think it's the same psychology. It's the same kind of person. Just a hopeless loser who is just like spewing bile to try to feel better. During Ashley's freshman fall, after a series of excuses from Kendra about PayPal and cashier's check hiccups, the cabin's owners started the eviction process. PayPal? You were paying for your fucking house with PayPal? So they got evicted from the cabin. In April 2022, just before the FBI-affiliated task force got involved, the court received a request from the Licaris to delay getting evicted from their cabin. They were weathering unemployment, the letter said. We do not have any other place to go and are completely terrified of being homeless with our daughter. But Sean didn't know that she had gotten fired at this point, so she must have written the letter. The court evicted them that month. Kendra told her family that the house's foundation had cracked and they had to move out while it was lifted up for repairs. Like, all this house stuff was not included, but Sean mentions it in the body cam where he's like, this house and then this house, as he's like putting together the fact that like, oh, we got kicked out of both of those houses. Like, I wonder if he even knew. It's hard to say. Munchausen, they were talking about Munchausen. People think this is Munchausen, and that Munchausen experts think the digital variety will likely become the most common sort. And I mean, we've seen it, right? There have been other cases of parents bullying kids into near suicide or actually completed suicide. So, yeah, I feel like they left out a lot of shit about just how weird Kendra was outside of what was happening, right? Like, there was a lot going on that they didn't mention that would have been pretty interesting, I think. And that sucks. Like, they could have not done like another part. Just to show how weird Kendra was, and maybe talk more to Kendra's cousin, right? Because her cousin had some shit to say about her. Who munching up they housing? Sounds like Kendra handled all the money. Yeah, well, and that's a great way to evade anybody thinking that there's something going on, right? If you control the money, then no one else is seeing the bank statements. All right, let's end on one little funny thing. Because one of the girlies from the show, or from the movie documentary, as one of them said, went on TikTok to defend herself. It's Chloe. Okay, so here's Chloe talking about what happened. But what's the best part of this is the comments.
Chloe, I'm one of the kids who got framed in The Unknown Number on Netflix that just came out today. And I was going to tell a little bit more of my story about it. Okay, so it started when we were like 7th, 8th grade, around there. And my mom has these like Halloween parties.
Okay, no one cares. We know all this, right? But the comments are just fucking frying her. I know you threw them carrots. Because remember, Chloe and a couple of the other mean girls like threw carrots at Adriana, Owen's cousin. They are not getting away lightly. No one is thinking that Chloe's a victim here. Anyway, apologize to Adriana. This isn't about you. Anyways, justice for Adriana. It's giving want to be the main character so bad. Oh my God, it's giving bully vibes. Girl, not now, please. And you definitely threw those carrots. I just love that. People are fucking calling her out. Like, we will not forget about the carrots. And I will say, like, as soon as those 3 girls were like walking down the hallway, it like triggered high school trauma of like Mean Girls. I was like, they definitely threw them carrots. So I love that. No sympathy for the town's bully. You are not a victim. Her parents seemed really shitty too. A whole family of mean girls. Of course, her dad's a fucking cop. So yeah, I just love that people were calling her out for the fucking the carrots. This didn't go how you thought it would, did it? Okay, but did you bully Adriana? Yeah, for sure. Okay, so she posts that and then she did a follow-up. Also, I take accountability for my actions and I'm working on myself. Justice for Adriana. Anyway, justice for Adriana. Future nurse right here. We've talked about that. Why you threw them carrots? It's so stupid.